are already warming up your knuckles because we are going to have some hands-on practice and experience with Chat GPT. So I hope you guys are ready for that. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready for hands-on practice, and let's get this thing going. So let me know if you can see my screen. I'm going to share my presentation in 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, everyone can see my screen? Cool. So today's session is GPT for L&D, and basically is all about how to harness GPT to boost your productivity and creativity, and especially for the L&D space, right? So I'm using Chat GPT on a daily basis, and I'm here to share a little bit of what I have experienced, what I've learned, and what I found useful, so you would basically get yourself to the next level using Chat GPT. Just some housekeeping before we get started. So camera's open, so I could see you. Mic's muted, so we could avoid this Zoom awkward moments that we all been familiar with. At least I have. And questions in the chat. So wherever, whenever you want to have a question, feel free to put it in the chat at every moment. And I will, of course, make some breaks and answer your questions. So a little bit about myself. My name is Oren. I'm an L&D consultant, instructional designer. I did this for, well, again, more than 14 years, like how time flies. So I also do some coaching around presentation skills and effective communication, some client management. I work remotely. I'm located in Portugal. So again, a high five for all these in Portugal. And I'm really passionate about AI. I'm constantly learning and trying to keep up with the pace, which is impossible, basically. So today, what I got planned out for you is, first of all, we're going to talk about why is it important, right? We're all L&D professionals. We really need to talk about the why before we jump into the how, the hands-on. Then I'm going to show you some common practices and some model, basically like a framework that I found very useful. And if you will apply it in your ChatGPT practice, I can assure you that you're going to be well on your way to be like really taking your practice to the next level and being the top 5% of people that actually get the most out of this amazing tool. Then I'm going to give you some practice time. We're going to be divided into some groups and have a little bit of exercise and have a little bit of time for Q&A. That sounds good. Again, thumbs up if you're with me. And let's get going then. So just one thing that we won't cover, because I know many of you are curious about that. So all the things regarding installation and registration for ChatGPT, I'm already assuming you all are registered, you all have used it maybe once or twice. So Valeria, if you could just put the link to ChatGPT for anyone that did not open it yet or not sure where to get, maybe this is the time. Thank you. About legal security aspects of implementing AI solution in your organization. Again, this is something I won't be touching upon. So I'll just say as a rule of thumb, if you have any doubts, just consult whoever is in charge of IT in your company, in your organization. And of course, never upload information to the chat, to the model. Also, we're going to discuss the ChatGPT 3.5, which is the free version. ChatGPT 4, maybe it's like for a different separate session because this is like a whole new world of possibilities, okay? So let's talk about what brought you here today. I'm curious to hear and to see, you know, like, I'm sure you're all very busy people and you have a lot on your plate, but still you made the time to come and join us here today and learn something new. So I'm really curious about your motivation. What brought you here? What are you really trying to achieve out of this session, and what do you feel maybe is missing for you when it comes to your L&D practice? So feel free to start throwing some thoughts into the chat. And I would like to share in the meantime some of your responses that you have fulfilled before that session. So I just took everything from your responses, threw it on a mind map, and got some interesting results. Of course, Chat GPT is the most common one, surprise, surprise. But also other interesting words that you threw out there. So you're looking for tools, you're looking for ideas, how to be more effective, how to use AI in your day-to-day application. You really wanted to be hands-on, right? You wanted to know what kind of prompts should you use, maybe what kind of context or how to craft a good message. So this is very revealing information. And of course, we're going to cover a lot in that session. Now, for me, there are two main reasons of the why. Why should we learn it? Why should we really kind of dive into these tools, the Chat GPT and other generative AI that are popping up? So for me, there is like these two forces. One is the push and one is the pull. Let's talk about maybe, you know, the carrot and the stick. So this is a slide I really like to show. You know, it's like the Red Queen race, if you're familiar with that. Alice and the Red Queen are kind of running in all their power, and then Alice says, well, we're running in all our power and we're still in the same place. And this is what the Red Queen answered. You know, it's like, it takes all the running we can do to keep in the same place. So there's this really crazy arms race. Everyone is kind of running as fast as they can. And basically, if we want to be able to keep up the pace, we will probably be irrelevant, right? So this is like one important concept to keep in mind, that we really don't have much choice. We have to innovate. We have to look at it in this perspective. Now, this is kind of the obvious idea, though. What I found even more appealing is the opportunity that it creates for us. So this is Cal Newport, and he wrote a book, So Good They Can't Ignore You. And basically, he talks about the marketplace of you know, talents, and basically what he said: if you want a great job, you need something of great value to offer in return. And I think there is a huge opportunity here with all this technology that enables us to really take our creativity, take our productivity, our innovation, and create really something of new value. And this is very, very important, just to keep at the back of your minds whenever you are approaching your practice, whatever it is. If you are consultants, if you're L&D professionals, if you work in a company, if you are freelancing, it's something that always keep in the back of your mind. And what new value could you offer your clients, the marketplace, in order to kind of create yourself the opportunity and the job that you dream of? Okay, so just from 1 to 5, how often do you use ChatGPT? I'm just curious. 1 is never used it before. 2, gave it a few tries every now and then. And 5 is like, I use it every day. I don't know what would have done without it. All right, so we see a lot of fours, lots of fours, 2, 3, 5s. All right, great. So we have some 1s, some 2s. We have all over the board, which is great. So this is very insightful, and I'm really happy to see that people here are using it every once in a while. And also for people who never used it before, don't worry, you came to the right place. For me, I will share a few common uses for L&D, and feel free to also chime in and add from your own, because I really want us to learn from each other, right? I don't have all the knowledge in the world, and I think that you guys here in this amazing community, we can really learn from each other best practices. So the common uses I see a lot from Chat GPT is like, I use it to prepare for meetings with subject matter expert. I use it to brainstorm ideas. I don't get stuck in my own head anymore. I have my little co-pilot that can help me in whatever I need. I use it for outlining either presentations or workshop, write course syllabus, write scripts for videos and e-learning modules, right? These are kind of the main use cases that I use a lot. I also use it for any creativity, any slogans, any creative work that I want to see done. All right, so Valerie says, use it to write code for our LMS. That's very interesting. That's a very cool use case I haven't thought of. Thank you for sharing. And again, feel free to add your own as we go along. Okay, so do you want to see ChatGPT in action? I made just a short demo for you of how do I use it in the day-to-day life, and I chose to show you a little bit about how I prepared for a session like that, for example, right? So if you can see here, I don't know if you can read it, but I will read it for you, just like the normal prompt that I started with. So you're a creative instructional designer, write an outline for a 45-minute workshop about generative AI tools for instructional designers. So I gave it the target audience, gave it a short description, and what do I expect to get from this session? So this is in fast forward, right? I'm completing the prompt here, and I tell it that I want the workshop to include hands-on practice and theory of prompt engineering and so forth. And I'm even giving it the sort of output that I'm looking for. So what I mean by that is that it already created me the table of what is the content, what is the sections that I'm trying to look for here. So it's like these sections, the duration, and what is going to be in each section. After the first output, I'm saying, okay, that's great. I read it. Now I want you to write me 5 examples of exercise with Chat GPT as a tool for generating content. Okay, so it can be about creating PowerPoint presentation, or I'm giving it a few examples. So again, it gives me the ideas for exercises that I could do with my participants. Creating a quiz on instructional design principles, creating a video, creating a presentation, and it gives me all the details that I want and need to be able to do this presentation. Now I'm telling it, all right, now you can act as a Zoom expert and maybe tell me how to conduct the session in Zoom. So I'm giving it a character, I'm giving it some sort of context, and maybe give me another perspective on how can I actually facilitate this outline that I've just created now. And it only takes a few minutes, to create this kind of thing. And now I'm saying, okay, as a facilitator using Zoom, I create this and I suggest to start with the planning and creating the breakout rooms and assigning the exercises and so forth. Next step, I'm saying, okay, great, I got the content ready. Now you can think of maybe a landing page and try to think as a copywriter, how would you market this kind of workshop, right? So he already knows, I'm saying he, but it's like it. So it already knows the content and the benefits, and now it will actually give me all the information I need to have it. And it can even give me the HTML code for the website. This is, of course, I'm not going to use it really, but it's just to give you an idea of the power of what it can do, the capabilities, even can write CSS code and so forth. So this is like a short demo of the capabilities, all right? So I'll stop here. Just if you could see any questions, anything so far that you find interesting.
Oren, we do actually have a question. The prompt that you showed on Chat GPT 4, according to your screen, can the same result be received using the free version?
Yes, exactly. So what I used here was Chat GPT 3.5. It was in the free version. I didn't do anything fancy. So even in the 3.5, you could write the HTML code. You can write all these things. Of course, Chat GPT 4 has a lot more capabilities and has all these GPTs that are really interesting, but it's kind of for a different topic, different scope, as I mentioned. But yeah, everything I showed was on the free version.
We have another question within, oh, I lost it. Yeah, within one conversation, each additional prompt will take into account the previous ones?
Yes, great question, and thank you for that. So yes, in every conversation, the model will remember the previous prompts and the previous basically conversation. So you can refer back to things from the previous conversation, but if you start a new conversation, then it's kind of a blank slate. Okay, great question.
Oren, how do you validate the output?
All right. So we'll get to that in a minute. I'm really happy about these questions because we're just about, it's kind of a segue to the next step in the presentation. So you're probably asking yourself, well, how do I start? It all looks really overwhelming and, I don't know how to write all these fancy prompts. So good news, I have a model for you. And the model is called Create. And I took it from a guy named Dave Bierce, and he has a really nice, cool course on LinkedIn Learning. If anyone has gotten the chance to look it up, I really recommend it. Check out this guy. It's really interesting. And this model I took and I kind of made some adjustment for it for L&D. And I want to show you the steps of this model that will help you also get your prompting to the next level. So what is the Create model? Basically, it's an acronym of character or context, the request, the examples that we give it, any adjustments to the prompt, to the output, the types of output that we want to get, and the evaluation. Okay, so I want you to think of these stages. We're going to move through this one by one. And on each step Also, feel free to chime in and to write in the comments, what are you using it for?
Oren, sorry
yes.
for interrupting. We also got a comment that your toolbar is blocking some of your screen.
Is this better now?
Yeah, thanks.
All right, cool. Thanks for the comment. Cool. So let's start with the character or the context. So for me, I really like to use a character. For example, you are a creative learning experience designer. Help me do this and that, right? So sometimes I would give him a prompt, and you're a talented copywriter if I want to think of a slogan of some sort, or a campaign, or something that I want to do. Act like Steve Jobs, for example, if I have any presentation that I want to build for a product, right? So I want the model to really think of how would Steve Jobs would sell that product, or any other character that you think that this is the right tone for your training session or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Then, context could be, well, I need to prepare a presentation for senior management about XYZ. So this is kind of the settings of my request, what I'm trying to achieve here. I need to prepare for a sales call or anything like that. So again, think for yourself, what kind of character, what kind of context are you going to ask the model to help you with? Okay, so this is the settings. This is the first step. Moving on to the request. Here, before that, I have a link for you here to a site called Prompts Chat. And this website basically gives you all kinds of different characters, different prompting that you could use. For example, act as an Ethereum developer, or act as a spoken English teacher. And there is many characters here that you could use for your prompting. So you don't have to invent the wheel every time. So this is a nice resources to take into account. And even if you don't find any character that you are looking for, these descriptions will help you kind of formulate your own character. Okay, so just make sure to browse that, and it's a nice resource. All right, back to the presentation. Another thing that will help you customize your prompting is the custom instructions. So if you go to your chat, and you can do it right now as we speak, and I will go to my Chat GPT. I will click here right on my name, and as you can see, there is Customize Chat GPT. When I click on that, basically I can tell the chat everything that I want the chat to know about me. I'm a senior L&D professional with 15 years of experience. I have a background in learning and blah, 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 blah. This is kind of what I wanted to know about me and how to address me. Like, what is the language? What I care about? Now, the second section is, how would you like ChatGPT to respond? So I know from experience that the ChatGPT tends to be pretty lengthy, and it tends to be like with a lot of fluff. And I don't like fluff. I want to be formal and to the point. Don't give me all these background about that you're a language model and you don't have all the information. Spare me that information, please. And this is what I want to get from the chat. Now, this is not necessarily what I would advise you to do here. Maybe you like to be more elaborate. So here you could just tell the ChatGPT how to respond to you. And of course, you can turn it on or off if you want it to be on new chats or not. Okay, so this is just one thing that is very useful in order to customize your request and the character, of course. Okay, so the next step is the request. Basically, this is where I need to be very specific and tell the chat, well, this is what I want to get out of this prompt, out of this output. So for example, summarize the following text into a few sentences, or write a 500-word paragraph. Write me a short story in rhymes, or 5 ideas for a slogan on subject XYZ, right? Something that is very useful is explain it to me like I'm 5 years old. If there is a very difficult concept that I need to kind of get into the gist of it and I cannot really grasp it, then this is a very good way to simplify things. Want to see a cool example? Sure you do. So this is a guy that I really like this example. Some people have a lot of spare time on their hands, which is cool. And he asked Chat GPT, explain quantum theory to a child in the style of Snoop Dogg. So see if you could read it. I'm not going to rhyme it all the way through, but I thought it's really funny. Yo, little homie, let me break it down for you. Quantum theory is a crazy thing. It's true. And it goes on, and I found it very, very amusing. Of course, it wouldn't go into the depths of quantum theory, but you get the idea. Okay, so give it a character and give it the type of output that you want to receive. Next up is the stage of examples. Now, friends, ChatGPT loves examples, and this is where it really, really shines. So what do I mean by examples? Well, if I want to get a certain tone of voice, then I can paste in some examples that I liked for slogans, for example. Or let's say I want ChatGPT to talk and write in a brand language. For example, Coca-Cola. It's not a commercial to Coca-Cola, whatever. It's just like something I had in mind. But talk in the brand language of Apple or Nike, or every brand has its own unique language, unique footprint. And this will help ChatGPT to adjust the language to the output that you are aiming for, right? Now, another thing that I like to use is examples of my own writing. So I wrote a few blog posts in the past, and let's say I want to write a new one. I can ask ChatGPT to write me an outline and then write the whole blog post. And sometimes, I'm saying, it's not really there yet. It's not in the tone of voice that I'm looking for. It's not really me. It's like I'm reading something that a robot wrote. And then I can say, well, here are a few blog posts that I've written already. Now take this blog post idea, this new blog post idea that you wrote, and rewrite it in my style of writing. And this already makes wonders to the results that you're going to get, okay? So these are just a few examples, and feel free to share with your own examples, what are you using it for? This is something I took away from the OpenAI documentation, and this is something that they are suggesting to, how to teach the model, how to act. So for example, if you want to name your horse something and you don't have any idea, then you can tell it, well, for cats, common names are Captain Sharpclaw or Agent Fluffball, or whatever. For dogs, these are kind of the names. Now think of a name of a horse. So this is just an example of how to teach the model, basically using show and tell. And this really helps the model to kind of be a lot more fine-tuned to your needs. Now, next up, we have adjustments. Adjustments basically is just the fine tune of your results. So you want to have it maybe expand more on the topic or ask me questions if something isn't clear. Sometimes, I would get the prompt, and most often than not, you won't get the best results that you were aiming for in the first try, right? So you really want to fine tune with all these other prompting to rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat until you are satisfied. So it's a process here, right? You can ask it to give you more examples or rephrase in a more casual tone, right? And sometimes you would need to take the outputs that you get and fine tune it yourself, because it's just like it will never be perfect, but there is a process here of rinse and repeat, and every time give it some more adjustments. So it's an iterative process here, right? Type of output is to basically tell the model what kind of output that you are expecting to get. If it's an article up to 500 words, finished with a call to action, as you saw in the demo, what you see, what you hear table, if you're writing some sort of a script, or if you're writing an outline, then you could ask it for, the topic and then the content and the duration, anything that will help you read the output a lot more clearly. Okay? How are we doing so far? Are you with me, guys? Give me a thumbs up. And we're almost there. Last but not least, we have the evaluation. Before that, the type of output, another word about it. So imagine you have a blog post that you've written, right? An article. You can very easily repurpose it to a LinkedIn article, to Twitter, X, whatever you call it, to a YouTube video, or at least for a YouTube script for a video, or for a Facebook post. So it's very, very easy to repurpose the same content to different types of outputs. Does this make sense for you? It's very, very powerful and could save you a lot of time doing that in the future. Last step of the create model is the evaluation model. So this is where you really need to apply some critical thinking. This is where your knowledge and expertise can really, really shine. So you want to have an opinion. You want to evaluate what is the output, and you want to tell it, all right, which sources did you rely on? Sometimes, it can hallucinate things. It's not uncommon. So again, try to evaluate the type of outputs that you're receiving, or give it another prompt, like explain your choice. Why did you choose this solution and not another one? And try to kind of reason with it. Maybe you can ask it to rewrite the text this time. Maybe you rely on these kind of sources because you find these sources more reliable, more relevant. So this is where you evaluate and you fine-tune your prompts and your output. Does this make sense so far? I'm going to stop presenting and kind of take some questions and some comments, some thoughts before we will give you some time to practice on your own. Curious. Valeria, do you want to? Wow, we have quite a bit.
Yeah, a few comments from Verl. He says, the prompt give me way more letters than what I wrote in my prompt.
Way more letters?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if you could elaborate on that, maybe you can open the mic and ask your question, because I'm not sure I understood it completely.
Yeah, sure. So for LinkedIn, for your how-to section, you have a maximum amount of letters, I think 2000, something like that. So I wrote like, hey, can you write a for me section about blah, 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 in maximum 2000 letters. But then when I pasted into my LinkedIn, it was like way over. So I was like, huh? Why does my prompt not work like I expected it to? Because it's not that maximum. It went over.
Okay, good question. I'm not sure. Most of the time it does work. And maybe sometimes there is a process of rinsing and repeating again. Like sometimes you would need to fine-tune your prompt and tell it to write it shorter. That sometimes it will, most often than not, like it will know what is a LinkedIn post means, and it will kind of give you all kinds of icons and stuff like that. But sometimes you will need to be more specific and tell it, all right, make it shorter, make it up to a 500 letter words article. Okay? All right, great question.
Oren, we have a few hands-on and also a few comments in the chat.
Sure.
So can you elaborate more on see here the table?
Yes. So sometimes whenever we want to write a script for, let's say, an explainer video or an animation video or any kind of visual, then we use this table that is really easy to understand what is going on in the script. So what you see is like what you see on the screen, and what you hear is what you basically hear in the narration, right? So this is like a typical scripting method for any explainer videos or stuff like that. So this is what the prompt that I wrote. This is just an example, if that makes sense. All right.
Another one, how does chat determine sources before you prompt it to use specific ones?
Yes, so basically it is trained on a humongous amount of data, and it will take things from different sources that we don't always control, right? It's already kind of, the model is already trained. And then this is why in the evaluation stage, it's very important to ask it, all right, you gave me this prompt, that you gave me this output. Now, let's take a step back and show me where, what kind of sources did you rely on, right? So it kind of mix and matches from different sources. And this is very important. In Chat GPT 4, it will automatically, it will also take sources from the internet and will give you the actual links to the articles. And I'm also going to show you later on some plugins that you can use in order to find relevant resources and also use ChatGPT with the web. Great question. Thank you for that.
And one more from Francis.
All right, last one.
Okay, could you provide a mock-up image of a website and get it to provide the code to build the website?
It is possible, not with ChatGPT 3.5. With ChatGPT 4, it is. I'm not sure about how reliable is it as a web development tool. But it's getting better and better all the time. So right now, in my personal opinion, I think it is very interesting, but it's not there yet. That would be kind of my humble opinion. Maybe other guys here in the community or like other members have some different experience with that, but that was at least my experience. It is, however, very, very cool. I mean, sometimes, it's very interesting to see what the new capabilities are enabling us, and it's really moving very, very fast. Yes, the paid version is with DALL-E, and it connects with DALL-E, and it can also generate images. So you're right. Thank you for that, Tess. Cool. So what I would like to do now is basically to have an exercise for you. So this is the stage where you will be divided into groups. You can scan the QR code right here, and I can even put a link to the document in the chat. So let's see, where is my link? Yeah, it's right over here. And basically, this is an exercise that I have prepared for you for the breakout rooms. And what I would ask you to do in the next, let's say, 8 minutes, can even give you 10, but let's give it 8, as that every group will choose an exercise. It doesn't really matter what. You can even invent your own exercise. And open Chat GPT and start prompting, start brainstorming with Chat GPT. Start creating an output that you are proud of, that you really want to, like, you feel that you have enough meat to start working with. Okay, so everyone could open the file. There are also other tools that will help you create or get better outputs. These are some tools that I use every once in a while. So ARPRM is a Chrome extension, as well as Web Chat GPT. These two are Chrome extensions that once you enable them, basically it's like Chat GPT on steroids, right? So I'll just very quickly show you what it means. So once you enable this Chrome extension, I already have it installed. So AIPRM. Once I turn it on, I can go to ChatGPT, refresh the page, and basically I will get this whole different interface, which will ask me if I want to do, like, what kind of prompts do I want to have? I have this annoying.
Just give it the thumbs up or the thumbs down.
Let's give it a thumbs up. All right. I don't know what's the thumbs up meaning, but even if I choose ChatGPT 3.5, I can choose from all kinds of categories. For example, copywriting. I can use outreach, for example, sort by votes, trending. So these are people who already designed some prompts, engineered some prompts, and I can basically ride on these prompts, right? So it will ask me, for example, if I want an outreach for email strategy, then I will choose that, and I will read the description, revolutionize your outreach with our proven solution, discover how. So this is where I can really adjust what I want. Unlock unparalleled benefits, outcomes tailored to your needs. So I can just write, I don't know, I want to reach L&D managers in tech companies. And then ARPRM already kind of behind the scenes designs this prompt for me, and it gives me the whole template. So there's nothing I really need to do here. It already kind of takes my prompt, put it in their prompt template, and creates this output that is almost ready to go, right? So this is very useful to have all kinds of ideas, or basically it's a shortcut to other prompt engineering templates. We also have Prompt Base, which this is kind of a marketplace for prompting. So there's a lot of prompts for different generative AI tools. There is for Midjourney, there is for Stable Diffusion, and also for Chat GPT. If you really like to get some ideas on Chat GPT, then you could use the Chat GPT prompt generator and use it for all kinds of categories. I won't get into this in too much detail, but it's really fun to explore and to see what is out there. And if you're really good at prompt engineering, you could even upload your own prompts and sell it to whoever wants to use it. And finally, there is Web GPT, which is another Chrome extension. And this basically allows you to browse the internet from the Web GPT, ChatGPT 3.5. Okay, so this is the Chrome extension. I already have it installed, Web ChatGPT. If I will turn it on and maybe turn off the AI PRM, then I can show you how it looks like. All right, so back to ChatGPT. And now, as you can see, I have these things open up. So web access, I can give it access to quick search or Copilot. And basically, with all this, it could browse the web and give me some results based on web search. For example, what the latest updates on AI, for example. And then it understands the question and it will browse the internet to give me the best resources on the latest and greatest developments in AI. Okay, so give me to Wired Magazine, Artificial Intelligence News, so on and so forth. Okay, so this is the Web GPT. Very useful, very cool resource to use. Okay, so we talked about the useful resources. What about PDFs? PDFs, there is chat with any PDF. So this is chatpdf.com, if you're familiar with. If you have like a very lengthy document that you want to explore and you want to ask a question on, so you can upload it to Chat PDF, and it's really kind of a big time saver. Sometimes if you don't want to read these huge reports and just get the gist out of it, it's a really good thing to keep note of. I use this tool a lot for emails. So ChatGPT Writer, it's another Chrome extension, and this is like a plugin for your Gmail. So whenever I want to write an email and I'm not sure how to formulate myself and how like the right wording, then I would just add this Chrome extension. It's just a click of a button, and it will, with an API, it would basically get from ChatGPT all the prompts, all the outputs, and you can integrate it right into your Gmail. It's very, very cool. So I advise you to check this out. So in summary, let's wrap it all together. And basically what we talked about today is the importance of AI. Why is it kind of important to stay ahead of the game and to add new value to your work, to your workplace, and to your customers? We talked about common practices of ChatGPT, and you also had really good ideas that I didn't take into account even when using the model. We talked about the create model, which is the character, the contents, giving all the iterations, right? The response that I'm trying to receive, the examples, all the evaluation, right? So everything kind of puts together into that model, and I really advise you to start taking this into account. We had some practice time, some Q&A, and at the end of the day, this is what I want you to remember, that it's not about the tools, it's really how you use them. And it's you are responsible for the creation. You have the knowledge, you have the ability to evaluate and to have some critical thinking about what you are getting out of the tool. But if you use that model, the create model that I've showed you, you're going to be well on your way to create better, more quality outputs and in much lesser time. So it's a skill. It takes some iteration, it takes some practice, but don't be afraid of it. Don't shy away from it. Try to use it as much as you can and make it your own. This is really the message that I want to give you, want you to take away. And I'm curious to know what's your takeaway. So think of one sentence or even one word that you are taking away from this session and put it in the chat. Okay? Can be one word, one sentence, doesn't matter. Take 5 seconds to write everything that you thought and you're going to implement right from today moving forward with Chat GPT.
Oren, and while everyone
yeah,
is asking, we have a few questions in the chat. Does AI PRM remember the customization you set on Chat GPT?
That is a good question. And basically, I'm not convinced it is. I'm really not sure about the AI PRM, if it can take that specific information, because it's a plugin on top of it. So whenever you put a prompt, it basically takes that prompt, that request, and put it in their kind of backend and in their template. So I don't know how integrated it is with the customization, but I can tell you that it will remember the iterations. It will remember the conversation that you have on it. So experiment with that. And again, give it the context that you need, and it will provide you the prompts that you are looking for.
And you also showed the extension for Google. Do you know if there are any extension for other browsers?
There are. I'm not too familiar with them because Chrome is my main browser, but I know that there are other extensions. There are for Edge. And of course, like if you're using the Edge browser, then you have Copilot. And Copilot is kind of the ChatGPT for that browser. So that will be kind of built in already. Yeah, but these Chrome extensions have a lot of capabilities, and it's kind of, you know, this ChatGPT on steroids, if you will. Any other questions? Oh, that's nice. Driving together. Loved it. Claire, this is with Dali? You made it? Campaign?
Yeah, it is. And it was because of that great link that you gave us to go and actually find titles of people. And the prompt in there was just amazing. So.
All right. Wow. Amazing. And I also love the background that you have there. AI educator. Very, very cool. Thank you for sharing. Any other questions? That's great. I'm just looking at the chat. In Nora Zaki's. So I'm going to paste it again because I love it. So just a shout out for Nora for having this amazing, amazing prompt.
Oren, how do you say thank you in your country?
So in Hebrew, we say Toda Rabba, and that's thank you very much. And in Portuguese, which is where I live right now in Portugal, say muito obrigado. So I hope you took away one or two things from today's session. I really encourage you to take this Create model and start playing around with it. Start making this a habit of, brainstorming with Chat GPT, preparing yourselves for meetings, taking and, just like basically go out of your own head and have this co-pilot, this really talented, knowledgeable colleague that you can use on a day-to-day basis. And again, if you have any questions, any doubts, anything at all, just look me up on LinkedIn. You can shoot me a message, and I would love to continue the conversation from there.